welcome back to an episode of the React Foundation series. In this episode right here, we're going to be continuing where we left off, and we're going to continue to develop the organization creation page. So let's take a look at what we have. So I just wanted to point out that I wiped my database. So I recreated my accounts and all that stuff. So when you take a look at this, it might be a little bit different, but that's just because I changed the data in the database. So don't be afraid if it looks slightly different than what it was in the previous episode. Let me start my servers here. So let's take a look at what we have, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to achieve, and then we're just going to go ahead and jump in and do it. So right here, you can see I'm already logged in. I've got my proper email. Like I haven't created like 5,000 accounts, so I can use my proper email again. And then I have my company name, and I can see here, I can view it, and I can go to the contacts page. Of course, there's nothing here because we're going to create the organizations to go into this account. So what we really want to do now is we want to have a button over here, and it's going to look a little bit like this button here. And basically what it'll allow us to do is, so if I click here, we get to create a new account, but we want to do a organization creation over here. So what do I mean by organization creation? Well, right now we've already used the modal box technique. So when I click here, we have the modal box show up. We can obviously do the same thing again, and we can just have the modal box and allow us to create the company name, address, and whatever. We can just copy this. But that wouldn't be very, exciting. And since this is a React Foundation series, I want to show you guys as many techniques as I know. So what I'm going to be doing here is this button is not going to open up a modal box. What it's going to do is we're going to add the button first. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on the button, and it's going to go to a new page. And so now we're going to have a transition to like a new organization. So in the URL, it'll say /new, and then we'll be on a new page with a form and everything. And then, I promise you guys I'm going to do the icon, so we'll do the icon later as well. But I just want to get the important stuff out first, and the cosmetic stuff can be a little bit later. So let's go ahead and start with the button. So we already have the button. So what I'm going to do is going to copy this button here from the accounts page. So if I go over into the code over here, in the accounts over here, I go to the index, I go to collection, I can see this action over here. So I'm going to copy this const action over here, and I'm going to head over into my organization collection here and paste that link. All right, so here we can no longer actually use this A tag because we're actually going to navigate. So which means we need to use a React router helper. So what we need to do is we need to create a new page as well. So I'm going to do a route path new component c.organization.new. All right, so we obviously need to create that new component for the organizations over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a new new.js import React from React, and then class new extends react.pure component render. So just create the empty skeleton component, export default new, return. So just return an empty div just to get everything working so that it doesn't complain that, oh, we don't have a component and stuff like that. So we need to do a new line. That should take care of that. All right, so now we have the basic component. We need to export it. So I'm going to do an import over here. New from new. So that should be good enough. That should work right there. So what I want to do now is so we need to use a class name. So I'm going to do an import on the class names. All right, so we need to have the button as well. So I'm going to do a import on the buttons. Styles button.sass. So over here we have the buttons.sass. All right, so that should take care of that. So now we have the action and it's unused, so that's why it's complaining a little. Spinner is defined, never used. Okay, we're going to use it all later. So right now what we want to do is we want to add this button here into action. Action like that. And it should show up in our organization page. So if I go to the organization, new accounts, so right there. So what we got to do next is we got to change this to new organization. All right, so that button is right there and it works. Great. So now let's test out navigating. So I'm going to go over into my import link from React router. And we're going to change this guy to link. And here we are going to use, so basically we need to follow this structure here. So we need to accounts, artellectual, COLTD with a slug, and then organization. So how do we do that? Let me show you. So we can either go to accounts, obviously, and then we can just use the, the JavaScript syntax. And then we can just do the interpretation, get it to interpret the string like that. And then here, this.params, props.params.accounts ID. So I'm going to show you this way of doing it first, and I'm going to show you a different way, a better way a little bit later. So now we have organization/new. All right, so let's see if this works. So if I do an inspect element on here, our accounts, artellectual, COLTD, organizations, new. So this should actually technically work. Let's go ahead and try that. We come to the new page. So right now, let me render something in the new component so we can actually see that it's actually working. New. So right there, it is working. That link is working. So now that we've established everything and we've got everything working with the new page, this is, now we've got the link, we transition to the new page. There is a better way to do this here. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that in the next episode. So I'm going to take a pause over here. We just set up the everything real quick. So let me clean this up a tad. And then basically, once we're done with that, in the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to set up this page. We're going to fill it with form content. We're going to do a bit of copying and pasting, but it's all stuff we've already been through, so it's nothing new. It's just, this is a new way of doing, we have a form page where we have, the form is in the middle of the page and we fill it out and whatever. And then we'll migrate over to start doing validations. So we'll do validations on the server side, and then we'll have it, respond back to the client side here. So this is a free episode. We really appreciate our member support. So even if you haven't already become a member, it's just $9 a month and you get access to everything that we have in our library. And also to top it off, we're developing a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of stuff open source that we're doing. And to support everything that we're doing here, become a member. With that, I want to wrap it up. And thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.